Welcome back to this morning's episode of Good Morning Greyhounds. I'm Indy Eleven, and we're here with Indy TV at Grand Park. As you can see, it's not our usual studio location, but that's because we have some exciting guests for you today. Join with me, I have Indy 11's finest, Jack Blake. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
How are you feeling this morning?
Feeling good. We've had a great session in the rain this morning, so spirits are very high right now.
So, like you said, it was raining. How does it? I know usually you prefer to play in the sun, but having a bit of rain is always fun, right?
You know, actually, I prefer to play in the rain.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of a taste of back home in England. So yeah, the heat can be a bit too hot sometimes.
I'm from a little country in Southern Africa called Botswana, and over there it's pretty hot most of the time. But you're from rainy England, as they always say. So, what's it like playing over there compared to them?
It's very different. I'd say the biggest difference is the travel over here. In England, usually the most you travel for an away game is maybe 4 or 5 hours on a bus. But here it's sometimes 4 or 5 hours on a plane, which can have a toll on the legs. Weather-wise as well, you experience so many different climates. So in England, obviously, like you said, there's a lot of rain, which is quite common and usual. But here you can travel completely different time zones and be in completely different conditions. So it's really cool that I really enjoy playing over here because of that. You know, like each state's its own country in a way. So lots of different cultures, and yeah, football-wise, it's very different.
I think it's something that I find really interesting, especially like for someone who lived in Europe most of their life, right? Coming to the US, it's almost like it's like a different country almost every place you go. I feel like that's one of the reasons a lot of people in America don't get to travel around, because those are examples. If you live in Indiana, it's one type of place, and then you go to California, it's a whole different area or something.
Yeah.
But you have been here for a little while. But before we speak a little bit about your time in England, what was it like growing up and playing in England? I know you're from Boston. When you played for Notts County Youth, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. First.
What was that?
Yeah, so I started at Notts County. It's very competitive in the young age groups in England. Lots of competition for places from such a young age. You know, at 6 years old, I was at Notts County. And then when I was 8, I moved to Nottingham Forest, who, as you know, in the Premier League now. So, very historic club. I was very fortunate to grow up in that academy. You know, from the age of 8, you're training 3 times a week with a game at the weekend, and it can be a very ruthless environment. You know, as you start getting older into maybe 12 to 14, you know, your future depends on, you know, opinions of coaches, and it can be very ruthless, but it definitely makes you very mentally strong. So I'm very fortunate I was in that environment, and it definitely made me the player I am today.
And I mean, you played close to home, I'm guessing. Did you stay at home during the time at the academy, or were you like in the dorms or something? Like, how did that work? Yeah,
so I was fortunate that being from Nottingham, I got to stay at home. The club would recruit a lot of players, not just from England, but also France, Spain, Holland, Italy. You know, from the age of 16, players would be leaving their homes and coming across to England. So there was a dorms where they would stay in one big house, and you'd sometimes share with a teammate, which I guess I missed out on a little bit. It would have been cool to experience that, but I can imagine it also being quite lonely for lads that are far away from home at the age of 16. So yeah, it was a cool environment though, very, very good.
And so you must have some pretty interesting stories of when you were like growing up and playing with those guys, especially the ones who came from overseas.
Yeah.
Was there any like things that come up to memory that you can remember? Like, so that,
you know, I've made some lifelong friends from back home in England, and we would 7 a.m. every morning. We'd wake up. When you're in the youth team of Forest, you'd travel to the stadium, and then you'd wash the first team's boots. So you'd come in at 7 o'clock, and the first team started training at maybe like 9:30, 10. So you'd have to make sure that the boots were all clean, completely spotless, and you had to make sure you do a good job. Then Christmas time comes, and you'd get like maybe a bonus from the player that you were assigned to for the season. But in order to receive your bonus, you'd have to go into the first team locker room and sing a song for everyone. So that was some good but also bad memories.
No, I can imagine it must have been like a very interesting time. But after you had your time in the academy with Forest, what did you go and do from there?
So I was at Forest turned professional at 17, and I got released at 21. So at the age of 21, I hadn't played in the first team. And it was, I guess, quite a difficult period of time because I was wanting to be a professional and still felt that maybe I wasn't a professional yet, even though I'd signed a professional contract, but I hadn't quite made my appearance.
Good story.
So when I'd left Forest, I was in a position where I wanted to try something new, kind of find my career, and my grandparents lived in Arizona, so I made the decision to fly out to the States and basically come on trial with a few different teams. It was quite difficult because, coming from England, you have the pedigree of being at Forest, but know too many people over here, so it was a case of emailing clubs and saying, hey, like, this is me, this is some clips that we've been playing, I'd love to come on trial, and yeah.
And I know it's a little bit different because you would join the academy from so young, but is there like a big difference between going on trial in England versus coming and doing it in the US?
I wouldn't say the trial experience was too different. Trials can, you're coming into a new environment, and I guess players that are already in the team, they'll think, this person's coming to potentially take my place, so it's not always a welcoming environment. It can be quite hostile, but it was a cool experience. It was something that it definitely made me stronger person for it. Yeah.
And so you said your grandparents lived in Arizona. How long did you spend with them before you made your move to Minnesota?
So I had a 90-day visa where I could travel. So I think it was after maybe 30 days I'd secured a trial at Minnesota, and I'd flown up there, stayed in the dormitories there, and trained with the team for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then got my contract after that. So I'd say in total it was maybe 60 days. Yeah.
And you've been a little bit shuffled around since you've been in Norwich. What are some of the teams you've played for, and what are those experiences been like?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've played in some really, really incredible places to live, but also some really good clubs. I was at Minnesota United, and then I went to Jacksonville Armada, and when they were in NASL. The NASL was a league then, has been a historic league. Had the New York Cosmos. Pele played in that league, so that was pretty cool. But then the league just wasn't sustainable, so they folded the league. Signed for the Tampa Bay Rowdies after that, which again is a really, really nice place to live, great club to play for. And then moved to Salt Lake City, Utah, and then San Diego, and then here. So I lived in some really nice places and been very fortunate.
What's your favorite part that you lived in so far?
San Diego as a city was probably very cool, but we're really happy here as well. It's a really good club and a great place to raise a family. I've got 2 small kids, so they love it here, yeah.
And we spoke a little bit about it off camera, but you have 2 young kids, right?
Yeah.
Do they both play in the academy?
My son, who's 6, he plays in the academy here, yeah. It's quite a full circle moment, when I go to the training and I watch him, and, my parents used to watch me at training, so it's a full circle moment. It's pretty cool. They run a really good program here, so.
It must be great. I mean, it's like, I'm sure he gets to come and watch you play your games, but has he had any of his own sort of games that you've been able to just like watch it around?
Yeah, at this very complex. Yeah, he's had some games. It's been really cool. They play like 4v4 to like mini golfs. So he absolutely loves it. Yeah.
So going on to a little bit this season, I think you guys had a good season so far. Obviously, a bit of up and downs. What do you think has been the sort of goal for you guys starting into the season, and how do you feel like it's gone so far?
The goal for every team is to win a championship. I'd be lying to say we didn't say that, and I'm sure every single team in the league said the same thing. We had really good players in the squad, and we know that we've got a very talented team. So it was just a case of kind of gelling it together. Obviously, with Sean McAuley coming in from MLS experience, that's been very good for us on a personal level. Him being English as well, I feel like we understand each other quite well, and he's done a really good job of coming in and laying down the foundation and style that we want to play, and ultimately giving the players a lot of responsibility to perform. And like you said, we've had a really good year so far. at the end of it, you might ask me, I might say a different thing, but you know, I'm hoping that we really do have a talented group and a good staff, and I feel like we could take it far.
I mean, Sean's clearly trusted you this year. I mean, from the research I've done, you've played 22 games so far, scored 8 goals, handful of assists. You know, what's it been like you said, gelling with the team under a new coach? Sort of, what's that environment changed and like?
You know, every player plays really well when they feel like they're, you know, trusted and wanted at a club, and that's exactly how I feel here. You know, they made me feel really good since coming in, and especially this year, you know, the lads have also helped. You know, we trust each other as players, and you know, I've enjoyed the responsibility of you know, performing for the team and having players around me that help me do that, and me helping other players as well. So it's been really enjoyable. Yeah, it's been one of the most enjoyable seasons of my career so far.
And I mean, you've had some fun times. You guys went on like a 10-game winning streak.
Yeah, it was a target that the gaffer set us. You know, he said at the start of the season, I want to go far in the US Open Cup. It's a really good chance for individuals, collective group, you know, to really show what we're about, and I think we definitely did that. It was the first game we had was Detroit, and you know, we knew it was going to be a hard game, and you know, it was a Wednesday night. Fans came out to support us at home. It was a really good night, and yeah, I guess we kicked on from there. You know, we had a really good performance from the lads away at Atlanta. I think that performance really helped us gel as a group as well, and that was part of the winning streak we were on. You know, those sort of wins that you get away at MLS teams, you know, we were the better team on the night and we deserved to win, and we knew that. So going through and then getting through to KC was a big achievement for the club, obviously. Yeah, like I said, it was a target we set at the start of the season, so to hit the target and, you know, didn't quite get to the final, but to make history was special.
You know, I'm glad I was here to witness some of it. You know, I interned with you guys for a few months, and it was a lot of fun, and getting to know you and some of the players some more. You think that chemistry that you guys have as a team is what like helps you progress so far in the season? Yeah,
definitely. Throughout the season, you go through the ups, you go through the downs. I think ultimately the downs and the moments that don't feel as good are the ones that bring you closer together. We didn't get off to the greatest start this season, and you know, we had a few internal meetings as players where, you know, we had to figure it out, you know, and those are the sort of moments where, as teammates, you know, you really do gel, because you've got no choice but to knuckle down and work hard and trust each other, and that's what we did, and ultimately gave us success for the rest of the season.
I love that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Safe Little Show. It's been great, and you know, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers at home where they can find you on social media, and maybe something they can look forward to into?
Yeah, Instagram, Jack Blake _94. Also, fortunate enough to do a podcast with the team. Find it on the Indy 11 YouTube. Thanks for having me on. Yeah. I really enjoy getting to know you too. And I'm looking forward to watching this back.
That's sweet. Jack Blake, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into this segment of the show. But when we come back, we'll have Coach Sean McAuley on. So make sure to stay tuned.
Good morning, Greyhounds, and welcome back to your Wednesday show. We have some very exciting things to talk about with our very special guest.
So what do you find unique about UND, and what kind of pulled you here?
What are you doing?
Watching Good Morning Greyhounds every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m.
Welcome back to the show. For this segment, I'm joined with Indy 11 head coach Sean McAuley. Thank you so much for coming on. How are you feeling this morning?
Good. Feel good.
You guys just finished up a practice session a little bit earlier. How did that go?
It was good, yeah. The field was really good because the rain made the ball move quicker, and you know, we've got some quality in the training.
I spoke to Jack a little bit about it earlier, but he said he actually prefers playing in the rain. Is it sort of like a bring you back to home sort of feeling? Is that what it is?
Yeah, at the start, and I just think it's probably easier for the players, you know, in terms of, you know, the blistering heat can sometimes drain you a little bit more, whereas the rain, you know, it doesn't sap your energy as much, and like I said, the quality on the ball seems to run true. It seems to be a truer roll of the ball when the ground's got a little bit of slick in it.
And so for the viewers who don't know, why don't you give us a little bit of a brief synopsis about yourself and what you represent for this team?
I'd rather you say that.
Okay. Well, for those
No, listen, I'm here coaching Indy 11, and before that I've coached other teams in the MLS as an assistant coach, and I've taken other roles in the UK, all the way from academy manager to head coach for short spells, and before that I was a player. So for the last 35 years when I left school, I've been doing this, so it's been not bad.
It's a great little career you've had so far.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of interning with you guys earlier this year, and so I got to know you a little bit more and some of the players. What do you think about this little Indy Eleven community that you've built in the last few months?
I think we're okay, yeah. I think we're good. I think there's a good spirit, a good camaraderie between everybody. Everybody understands what we're trying to achieve. You know, everybody's got that same goal that we want to try and win something, make a little bit of history for the club, and you know, and we all understand that this is the only team that we can do it with now, because that's, you know, all the transfer deadlines have gone and we've got to run in. Hopefully we make the playoffs and then take a run for it for the cup.
Going on so far, I think you've had a pretty good season though.
Yeah, I think we've done all right. Yeah, you always want to improve. So if we were sat at the top, there'd be areas of performance that we want to improve. The season for me has been a little bit up and down. We've had some really highs, and we've had you know, areas of the season where we've not been managed to get the results and been on a losing sort of streak, and I don't like the streaks. I'd rather have consistent performance all the way through.
Why do you think that is? What do you think sort of brings the team down during those moments?
I don't think the team's down. Sometimes it's down to luck, you know, and like when we were on the run of all them games that we won in a row, we were fortunate to win a few of it. And when we were losing the games, you know, on that streak, we were unlucky not to get points out of them. So some of it's down to luck. We lost key players during that time as well. Jack got injured, which was a big miss for us. But you know, you need everybody fit and healthy at the right time, at the right moment, and that usually comes at the end of the season. Hopefully, like, we can get across the line to get into the playoffs and then make a run for it.
Talk to me about some of those key players. You already mentioned Jack. Who else on the team you think is part of that integral piece to get the performance together?
I think the way we've set it up is that everybody has a role to play. You know, when you sort of look at it, the performances of everybody have peaked and troughed a little bit. You know, they've gone high and low. So everybody's played the role. I would say that, you know, what really for this year is the younger players that have come into the team have done really well, like Hunter, Josh O'Brien, Logan Needling, and these players who are probably didn't expect to go as far as what they have done have done really well for us this year. So that'll give us a good starting point for future seasons.
Hunter sort of found his way into the team, I think. So how do you feel with his performances? I mean, obviously he's been brilliant so far. So what do you think he can expect from him for this season?
He's just got to keep his confidence and keep his performance levels high in his training habits. And if he does that, he'll be fine. And then we all get to see where his career goes after that, because, as you know, he's on loan from the MLS. So if he goes back to the MLS and has a career, I think we'll all, you know, take a bit of credit in helping him along his way.
Edition, yeah. But talk to me about the US Open Cup. Obviously, it was a great run with the team. Like, during that period, you had like a 10-day winning streak, but you league and the cup. So what was that feeling like? Just pure elation, I suppose.
The good thing for it was, I've said all along, but in my sort of philosophy of management is you're here to win games, and winning games, you know, pleases the supporters. So I'm in the run in the cup the way we did, and we won 4 games in the cup, and I think previously, I think the clubs in the history has only ever won 4 games, so we did it in one year. It gave the support some belief and some hope when we got to meet with the MLS in a critical time where there's that debate on whether the cup should go ahead and all that. So I was really pleased for our fans to be able to get behind the team in what we believe, and we will always believe, is a really important competition for us.
And isn't it just an integral part of the team having the fans there? I mean, it's always nice when you get to play at the home stadium, but even when you travel away, having some of those guys who are always at every single game show up? What does it mean?
Yeah, it's great, and then we've got to respect the fact that that's why we do it. Without them, there is no club really. You know? That's the thing I would say amongst every football club. You know, the players need to understand that they've got to play and give effort, give commitment, the exact same as if a supporter got the chance to wear the shirt. Because if they did, they would give everything they had and run around and make tackles and make challenges, and that's what we need to try and instill in all of our players. Then put the shirt on. They are the sport at one block.
And I mean, for those who don't know, you had a bit of a career yourself. Take me back to where you signed your first either academy contract or first pro contract. What was that like?
It was good, you know. I started at Man United, so I signed 2 contracts with them. I signed to go into the apprenticeship program there. I had 2 years, then I got offered a 2-year professional contract, which was great. But then during that time, you want to play, and I wasn't playing. I wasn't getting what I thought, you know, any opportunities. And a footballer who doesn't play is not really a footballer. So I wanted to play, so I got a transfer up to Scotland, and then started playing, and you know, finished my career really as a player coach. But before that, the season before I finished playing, I played in the US with Portland Timbers, which was great because then I got the chance to go across the coast as well.
Hear any cool stories from when you were with United and the couple of years stint that you had with?
No, I mean, it was great times. You know, like I said, I didn't get the game time that you know you would want to have, but I got the opportunity to travel to FA Cup finals, League Cup finals, European Cup, Winners' Cup final, and them nights are special. You know, the FA Cup, the first one was good because we drew the first game 3-3, and then we won the second game 1-0, and it was actually a guy who plays my position who was playing the reserves alongside me. He scored the winning goal and was really pleased for it. And then obviously the European nights are special.
And like you said, you didn't get the game time that you wanted, but you ended up going on a couple of loan spells and transferring a few times. Do you enjoy your time as a player?
Yeah, you know, I did. It's tough, you know, because you have to do it with a lot with injuries, moves and transfers. I moved twice on deadline day, so you know you're at home thinking that you know you're preparing for a game on Saturday, and then you know 2 hours later you're driving down the motorway, the highway, to go and sign for another team. So that's, you know, the things that people probably don't understand is the insecurity of the job. So it takes you, you know, to places where you probably weren't expecting to go.
I mean, people always watch on like Sky Sports or something, deadline day transfers, but they never really appreciate the sort of stress that the player can have to them.
Yeah.
So that must have been a little bit tough, you know, I'm sure.
I think if you've got an understanding wife, like I have, family that's prepared to travel, there's no real stress, it's just part of the job.
So take me back to that first little managerial position that you had. What was that like? It was Sheffield, right?
Sheffield Wednesday, yeah. It was good. The expectations were low. They weren't expecting a lot from me because I'd not been employed by the club for a long time at that point. And we went from bottom of the league to, we finished the season in just outside the playoffs. But I think that the chance to manage a team in the championship, even for the first 4 games, was big for me and my career. It gave me a good standing when I went back to the job of the academy manager. People then would recognise that I probably knew what I was talking about because I'd just won all the games with the first team for the previous 6 weeks.
And so how did you go from coaching back home at Sheffield all the way to the league over there?
That was good. I mean, because I played in Portland with the Timbers, I got the chance to coach in the MLS. I was never going to turn it down. I knew the MLS was growing. You know, the game was growing in the US, and so I really liked my time living in Portland. I liked the people in Portland who I was working with. You know, and it was a great club. It still is a great club.
Was it hard to leave home the first, like moving overseas for the first time? Well, not the first time, but for a longer extended period of time?
No, I left home at 16, so I left home at 16 to live in Manchester, lived there for 4 years, then lived in Scotland for 3 years, then went to live in Newcastle for a couple of years, then lived back in Sheffield for the next 5 or 6 years or whatever it was, then America, then back Sheffield, and then back to the US.
Been all over the shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But something you and Jack both have in common is that you both had little tiny stint with Scotland's under 21s and Digital under 19s. What was it like to go represent the country and the city level? Like, what's that was to you build before it started?
It was good for me, in terms of, I think Jack might have got there through grandparents, and I got there through my dad. So the script for me was I'd supported Scotland as a really young kid. So I'd grown up supporting Scotland. So then when I got a chance to play for Scotland, I was actually at Man United, and it was Sir Alex Ferguson rang up the coach and said, you need to put this guy in the squad. So I went into to the youth squad there, under 18, and then when I transferred and started playing in the Scottish Premier League, I then got into the 21s, and it was good, really good.
I mean, we all know it now, but Ferguson had such a big legacy. Was that something that you thought about, even though with your couple of years at United, that he was going to go on to do such amazing things with it?
Yeah, you always knew that he was going to be really successful, because he had the drive to be successful. When I was there, he wasn't. So then you knew even more that if it turned around, it would last a long, long time. The work that he put in, he deserves all the credit and the reward for what he did. And I think everybody can see that the club's gone down a little bit since his influence has left.
It's been a little bit rough since 2013, but what do you think, what sort of style do you base your managerial career off of? Was there one in particular, or do you just have your own sort of thing?
I think times have changed, from when I was growing up, like with Sir Alex, it's a different era.
Yeah.
You could do things differently.
Yeah.
Let's say, to motivate players. So
Yeah.
my style's not like that anymore, because I don't think you can be. I think you have to lead with empathy. I think you've got to understand everybody's got an individual outlook on what they want to achieve, and I think social media's played a huge part in management styles as well.
I mean, you guys have a lot of international people on the team, a few from the US. What's it like trying to speak to all of them, but also get the same message across at the same time, and sort of what's it like having that little balance act of different cultures and experiences?
I think it grows on a daily basis, so I think as long as you're consistent in the message that you're trying to send, and you're consistent in how you deal with situations that arise, and take everybody's situation and deal with it as an individual. I think generally everybody comes together, everybody knows the rules and expectations.
I know your philosophy is all about winning, but what else can we look forward to for the rest of the season in terms of working towards playoffs and finishing off the last few games?
We need to score goals.
Yeah. Simple as that.
Yes. Because you can't win a game unless you score a goal.
That's true.
So we'll try and score as many goals as we can, and that's the thing. Because again, going back to why we're all here, the ultimate aim is to make the supporters go home happy, and they don't want to come and see a team that doesn't score a goal. So we'll try and score as many goals as we can. What we need to do better at is stop the ball going in the other end, and that's up to Hunter and the rest of the defenders. But we have a responsibility to score goals to try and win games, and we've not done that of late, so we'll try and get back on track with that.
And where can the viewers at home watch Indy 11?
Down at live at the Carroll Stadium. I don't know where you can watch it. I'm not sure. You'd have to ask somebody else. I don't know. Well, the problem I've got with watching them is I'm usually on the side of the field, so I don't know where you can watch it.
You got the best view in the house.
No, not really.
But I'll put some links down in the description for those who want to watch Indy 11. Make sure to stay tuned, especially as the season goes on. I think they're going to close up strong, and we're looking forward to supporting you guys. Thank you, Sean, for coming on the show. It was brilliant. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
In the next segment, we'll have both Jack and Sean together for a little bit of a trivia part of the show. But make sure to stay tuned, and thanks again, Sean.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys soon.
Good morning, Greyhounds, and welcome back to your Wednesday show. We have some very exciting things to talk about with our very special guest.
find unique about UND, and what kind of pulled you here?
What are you doing?
Watching Good Morning Greyhounds every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m.
Joined back again on Good Morning Greyhounds, but this time I'm joined with Coach Sean and Jack here with me, and we're going to do a little bit of a soccer/football trivia game. Well, before I get it going, have you guys been influenced to call it soccer, or do you still call it football? I need to know.
It depends. When Jack's playing, we call it football. When everybody else is playing, we call it soccer.
It's really hard to try find that fine line between calling it soccer, because I still want to call it football.
Feel a bit guilty calling it soccer.
Yeah. I think for now we'll call it soccer, just going to leave it as a moment.
Okay.
Firstly, thank you again for coming on the show. We really appreciate having you both on. And this first question is going to be for you, Shaw.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of an ode to Jack's history, so to speak, but I want to see if you know. We shouldn't know. Which famous legendary figure is often associated with Nottingham and has set and lived in Sherwood Forest?
Probably not.
There you go. Look at that.
Yeah, was that supposed to be difficult?
No, we'll start with easy.
Okay.
And then maybe as we go on,
Right.
things will wrap up. But Jack, you can have a go at this one. What major nickname is often associated with the city of Sheffield? And I'll give you a hint. It's not football related.
Lawrence, that is all that about to be up.
Minus?
No. Steel.
Steel City is the answer I have.
Mine was way more difficult.
Hey, I have to give Coach a little bit of a ease in, but
2-0 left.
why is it called Steel City? I mean, I think it's a pretty obvious one, but
So a few things, all for the viewers. Well, for all those who are unaware that the world existed before the United States, Sheffield is the founder of steel around the world.
I love
You
it.
look on all your knives and forks and probably say Sheffield.
That's awesome. Okay, Sean, this one's for you. Which English football team has won 2 European Cups under the management of Brian Cole?
Nottingham Forest.
Absolutely. Are you a little bit jealous of this week?
No.
Oh, okay. And why is that? Why not?
Because the team I support is the first British team to win the European Cup in 1967.
1967.
Yeah.
And for the viewers at home, which team is that?
Glasgow Celtic. And it's amazing because when they won it, they became British. The year or so after when they lost in the final, they were Scottish. It's amazing how that. Yeah.
Steel studs from Sheffield.
Yeah.
Okay, this one will go to both of you. In which year did Sheffield United win their last FA Cup? It's a little bit of a history butt for this one.
1984.
No, nowhere near. I'm gonna go. Are you talking Sheffield United or Sheffield Wednesday?
Sheffield United.
I might say they've not won it. 50s.
From what my research tells me,
Yeah.
1925.
20, yeah.
So a little bit before both of your time.
Yeah.
But if, considering you didn't quite get that one, for a bonus point, could you name the goal scorer who scored the winning goal that season?
In the 20s.
Nothing?
No. He's probably called Albert. Somebody.
First name Fred.
Fred, yeah, Fred or Albert.
Last name Turnstile.
Turnstile, alright. Freddie Turnstile, yeah, remember.
Alright.
20s.
Okay, Sean, you might know this one. But I want to see if Jackie can answer it first.
Okay.
Which British band, formed in Sheffield, is known for its hit song I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor?
The Arctic Monkeys.
There you go. Arctic Monkeys.
I was listening to that.
What team do they support? Bonus point.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
There you go. I don't mind Sheffield Wednesday. Is it? Do you have a bit of Arctic Monkeys?
I do love a bit of Arctic Monkeys, yeah.
I
Bet you look good on that sort of crazy.
I'm not like the biggest Arctic Monkeys fan, if I'm being honest. They have some good songs, but Sean, I'm sure you have some.
You know what's better than Arctic Monkeys at the minute? A band called the Ravens. Have you seen that?
No.
So you know, like Sheffield, like Ravens, a Raven. I mean, right.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it's a Raven. It's Reytons.
Is that a little bit of some underground music, or is that was that a popular thing?
Popular, probably. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so a bit of some Indy 11 trivia now. We're gonna start with easy again and get a little bit more specific with our question. What year was Indy 11 founded?
Me.
I'm not on him.
Thanks it.
And so what's the there you go. See, we're gonna start with easy. We'll build up a little bit. A little bit trickier now, but who is the all-time leading goal scorer for Indy 11 as of this year?
I'm going to go with Pasha.
Jack the Golf, weirder.
You might be that one.
I feel like this one is something you might mean.
Iosi.
I got Iman Zaid.
All right, Eamon Zaid. Yeah.
Do you either of you have the better thing?
Freddie Easton, American titles, yeah. Him and Justin Braun up top, yeah. I mean,
Boys and girls. But now we're getting into some of the nerdy stuff. Which Indy 11 player scored the first ever goal in 2014?
I'm going to go with Eamon Zaid.
so,
Get up.
I got Mike Andersley.
And Jay?
Because that name is too.
Nope.
Okay, he's the reason this club is where it is today. He got that first goal, and since then they've been on outpost throughout.
Thanks for recognising what we've done. Seemed to really like it.
Now we'll get to that. Don't worry about it. Okay, last question. What's the best part about being with Indy 11?
Yeah, of it.
Winning.
Winning. Short and sweet.
Yeah. Well, that's what
Making
you're...
history.
Yeah, that's what you're here for. Winning.
Absolutely.
I'd say making history with
Yeah.
Right. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for joining me on the segment of the show. And make sure to stay tuned because next week we're going to have a great guest on the show. And also make sure to stay tuned for the rest of our Unity TV productions on our YouTube channel. Just search up Unity TV and on Xfinity channel 1096. And thank you guys again. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.